Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Around the World. Today, we're going to be talking about Greece, and we have Marianthi here to talk to us about it. Don't worry about my eye. I got hit in the face by a tree last night. It's just irritated with me as much as I'm irritated with the tree. So I'm okay, and we're here to talk about Greece anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Marianthi, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself and where you grew up.
Yes, so Marianthi, I am 26 years old. I was born and raised in Greece, in northern Greece. After this, when I was 18, I went to study in the US at Lawrence, where I also met Mike. And after the US, I did my master's in the Netherlands, where I'm also now doing my PhD.
Ooh,
That's a
PhD
little bit.
in biology, right?
Yes, I'm studying the evolutionary biology of aging.
Ooh, that's fun.
I know.
It's
Fancy
it's an
stuff.
exciting topic.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so you said you grew up in northern Greece. Where
Mm-hmm.
exactly? Where is northern Greece? Tell us a little bit more about that.
So my hometown is called Thessaloniki.
Okay.
It's the second largest city in Greece after Athens,
Okay.
and we call it the co-capital. I think Greece is the only country that uses this term, but I think we're very proud to be from Thessaloniki, so we had to come up with a term to make it kind of compete with Athens.
Right.
So I'm from the co-capital of Greece.
Cool.
And it's on the northern part. So if you think about Greece, Athens is in the middle part, and
Right.
then Thessaloniki is in the northern part. Is a little bit down from the border,
Okay.
and it's also a port city. There's
Okay. Is it
there is
close to
sea around it.
Macedonia or is it
It's in Macedonia, actually, our Macedonia.
your Macedonia? You're right, not
Yeah.
the other Macedonia.
So
Yeah.
Greece is the capital of Greek Macedonia, what we
Gotcha.
call it. But yeah,
Gotcha.
we
Okay.
border with the New Macedonia.
Cool. Well, that's cool. So now this is going to be a kind of a weird question, but is
Mhm.
that near Salonika?
That's actually the city. It's called Thessaloniki, but we call it Saloniki as well.
Okay.
So Thessaloniki means we beat the people that come from Thessalia. Thessalia is a little bit towards the middle of Greece. It's
Yeah.
another part of Greece. So when people that were from Thessaloniki actually won in a battle, the people from that particular place, they called the new city Thessaloniki.
Okay,
And this is
because
where it comes from.
my grandpa was born in Salonika,
Oh,
Greece.
really?
Really? Yeah. He
Nice.
I don't think I've ever told you this, but
No.
no. So my grandpa he was Armenian. He wasn't Greek. And so he was in Greece because his family escaped the genocide during World War I, and that's where he was born. And then during World War II, when the Nazis invaded Greece, they took him to Austria. So that's when he left, and he never went back. But yeah, that's where he met my grandma. He met my grandma in Austria, and then they came to the United States. So
Ooh, so many
yeah,
places for one lifetime.
yeah, that's why Greece is so high on my list of places to go, because I want to go
Yeah.
check out his hometown.
Mhm.
So cool. All right. Sweet. So you're saying like this is like the co-capital of Greece, so it's like it's a pretty big city.
Yeah.
Is it like is there anything like I know that Greece has like this history of like cities being independent and like each city is kind of got this different culture about it. What's unique about your city that makes it different than all the other Greek major cities?
So, people in my hometown have, let's talk like stereotypes now.
Yeah, go for it.
So people in my hometown have the reputation to be very chill about everything.
Okay.
In my hometown, as I said, it's by the sea. So we have this very big like street that is by the sea that is full of cafes.
Very cool.
And in Greece, coffee is like a very social thing. We don't go get like a shot of espresso and then leave.
Right.
You go out to coffee with your friends, with your family, and then you stay there for hours talking. So it's like a very social thing.
Right.
So our big street by the sea is full of cafes. And before Corona, no matter when you went, the weather, the time of the day, the time of the year, these cafes are full of people that are just chilling there, drinking coffee. So we have phrase that's called halara,
Hmm.
which means just chill out, like everything's fine, it's
Yeah.
okay, just chill. So people from my town have the reputation of being very chill and just like
Gotcha.
drinking their coffee with hours. Um, yeah, so this is the stereotype that is there. My hometown is very close to where Alexander the Great was from.
Okay.
He was from Pella, which is like an hour away.
Okay.
So we also have this like very near and dear to us. We pride ourselves as being the descendants of Alexander the Great, and we kind of make all that history our own because we're very close. Also,
Right.
Aristotle was from Thessaloniki. So the biggest square in the town is called Aristotle Square. So
So
we're
you got
also
some
very proud of
very,
that.
very legit lineage then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we're very proud of those things still.
I would be.
And
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, it's a very fun city for me. I'm totally biased because for me, Thessaloniki was, is, and will always be the best place on earth. I know, like, I see that no matter how much I travel and I really like other places, I'm never gonna like any other place as much as Thessaloniki.
Yeah.
But it's a really fun city. There's a lot of students. There are big universities there.
Okay.
I don't think it has anything to be jealous of from Athens, let's say.
Right. Right. So it's
Uh,
comparable.
Yes, and for me, Athens is very loud and touristy and
Right.
dirty because of all those things. I think Thessaloniki is like a step back from that, a little bit chiller, but still equally fun and vibrant and
Right. You can
a
get
very,
all the
very
cool
great
stuff you can
city.
get in
Yeah,
Athens, but there's not as many, tourists running around because it doesn't
yeah.
have that like Athenian
And
reputation, I
also that,
guess.
yeah, the reputation that everyone knows Athens and everyone wants to go to Athens.
Right.
So it's like loaded and very touristy and very, for me, like not very unique anymore. But
Right.
Thessaloniki is not like that at all.
Gotcha. It's kind of like going to Rome or going to, I would say, like Amsterdam, where like the
Yeah.
people are like, oh, I have to go there,
Hmm.
but but you can go to a different city that's just as large and still get the same experience out of it, and probably it'd be more unique and exciting.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Very cool. Very cool. So then you talked a little bit about stereotypes about your own city. Is there a stereotype that you can make more in general about the Greek people or the modern Greek people?
Yes. Unfortunately, for some reason, which I still do not understand, is that Greek people are very lazy. Maybe we have this chill mentality, so that
Right.
people see, and then they just assume that we might be lazy. But I can say I've traveled a lot and I have also lived in other two countries for a long period of time.
Right.
And I can say for sure that Greek people are some of the most hardworking people I've ever met. And
Hmm.
especially in the recent year when things have not gone our way, let's say,
Yeah.
um, Greek people have not let this keep them down or just give up or say this is our fate and we're going to accept it. Greek
Right.
people have become more resilient, let's say, and more hardworking.
Hmm.
And this is one of the stereotypes that really bugs me. And I don't think that anyone would see me and say I'm lazy, but
Right.
I can like I have heard people say it, and it confuses me because also growing up, I never had this idea about Greek people.
Right.
No one in my family, no one like I was seeing around was lazy. So when I
Right.
heard it from people abroad, I was really surprised because
Huh.
of course, it's true for some people, but I think those people are everywhere.
Right. Well,
So I
that's
don't think
the
there's
bummer
there's
about
any,
stereotypes, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, so you kind of alluded to things haven't been going your way. You're talking about
mhm.
like the austerity and the things with the EU, right?
Yes, the economic crisis.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like people in America, we know about the economic crisis because it's kind of our fault. But
Oh,
it kind of is. But
we
like,
blame the Germans. In Greece, we blame the Germans. So you're good.
well, okay, but like, but I mean, by extension, right? Like the Greece fell on hard times, and I'm not exactly sure the reasons why. I'm not an economist, but you know, things weren't going your guys' way, as you said. And for the people who don't know, Germany, since they kind of lead the EU for the most part, we're forcing you to cut your government's
Yeah,
budget, right? That was the gist
yeah,
of
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
like all your social programs, all of your all those sorts of things. Has that affected you in any way, or has that really has your family dodged those kind of issues?
So like, I'm not the right person to talk about economy or politics. So everything I'm going to say is just from my perspective. Just keep
Right.
that in mind.
Yeah.
So this thing kind of started around 2010.
Hmm.
And the thing that I have seen that has mostly affected the people around me is unemployment.
Right.
We have a very high unemployment rate,
Hmm.
and has affected my generation. So my friends back home that I still have contact to, they're struggling a lot to find a job, even if they have degrees, even if they're very well educated, they have a lot of qualifications. It seems like nothing is blooming in Greece right now. Um, and also the cuts that you talked about. So it's very like, they required, so one of the things that is being cut and cut and cut is people's pensions.
Sure.
So like, my grandparents and other old people in Greece are required to live with like 300 euros a month, which
That's not
is,
very much.
Greece is not a very expensive country to live in,
Right.
but again, this is like a very little money for people to survive on.
Right.
So it's been a domino effect of these cuts and unemployment and all the other hardships that people have been going through because of the economic crisis. They've been keeping people down. Also, they brought like the mentality and the mental state of everyone. Even if like, you are good financially, when your family is not good, when people
Right.
around you, no one is good, it affects the whole country.
Right.
The worst part is that around like 2015, 16, 17, Greece kind of, it got a little better for
Hmm.
us.
Right.
But now with Corona, it still
It's coming
has
back
gone
again.
down. So like I said, like an example, coffee is very big for Greece. So
Hmm.
anyone who had been saving money after the economic crisis, they just invested them in like coffee shops, like cafes
Sure.
or restaurants or things like that. Because for Greek people, we might not have enough money to like, I don't know, like do something fancy, but we're gonna go drink coffee. We're gonna go out
Right.
like once a week to eat with our family. So these are the things that they looked like they would bring money at the time.
Right.
And now Corona came, and
And now they're
these,
struggling with that.
yeah, they're struggling as well.
That's a
So
bummer.
it has been one thing after the other,
Right.
and it has been taking us down a lot, I
Yeah.
would say.
So going off that a little bit, you're studying in the Netherlands, and I'm sure that's because the program's awesome and you like to travel and all that kind of stuff. Have you seen that other people, young people from Greece, have also been trying to leave and go abroad to find work and study instead of stay in Greece?
Yes, yes, of course. Um, Most of it, when I, let's say, when I made the decision to go study abroad, came from the Greek educational system being
Right.
very bad,
Hmm.
which I also wanted to talk about. Um, it's so the Greek educational system is very unique, let's say. So for you to get to university, you need to get this take this national exam. So you need to be examined in six subjects
Sure.
according to, let's say, what university you want to go to, and then
Mhm.
according to that score, you get to the university.
Okay.
Uh, the public uh, system in Greece, it's very simple. So like, in the Netherlands, you need to like know what you're gonna do since you're 10 in
Yeah.
Netherlands,
Hmm.
and in Germany. In Greece, it's like everyone goes to the same school, either you like it or not. This is a public school. This is it.
Right.
But the problem with the public school is that you're ever gonna like the I had a lot of good teachers that
Right.
shaped me into who I am, and I'm grateful for them forever. I had a lot of bad teachers as well.
Right.
I was in the Greek public system until I went to high school. And until I went to high school, I didn't know basic math. And that's because my teacher in middle school, my math teacher in middle school, was only teaching the two people in class that their parents were also teachers, because she thought that these people were the only people worth teaching math.
Right.
So there's this mentality of, you are important, you are not, I'll teach you, I will not.
Hmm.
Teachers not putting any effort
Right.
into teaching and shaping the minds of the future. What, like, what better job is there to do? And Greek teachers not being willing to do it.
Right.
So that's why my parents decided to put me in a private school for high school. And I think this is why I'm here today and I'm
Right.
not in Greece.
Right.
Then for university, if you get to this school that you wanted to, or you get to another school according to your score, you end up somewhere, let's say, in a
Right.
university. In Greece, now they're trying to change it a bit. The laws are changing. But if you want to, and a university is for free
Right.
for all Greek people. But if you want to study until the day you die, you can. If you want to study until you're 80, you can.
Right.
The
They won't
the
stop you.
It won't stop you. There's people who have been studying for like 50 and they're
Still in
still
school.
studying. Yes, and the Greek government is paying for them. That's the worst part.
Right.
And then there's people like my friend graduated from a 4-year economics university. She got her degree and she never wrote a paper. Never, nothing. She just went the day that she had to give an exam. She gave the exam and somehow she passed, and then she got her degree. Like, you don't learn anything. When I was at Lawrence and
Right.
I was like studying and spending all my weekends in the library and studying so hard, all my friends in Greece were like partying.
Right.
Like, we worked hard to get into university, so now this is our time to shine.
Right.
And if the government's going to pay for us forever to study, and our parents, they're
Right.
so
Then
proud of us that we went to the university,
right.
we'll just take advantage of this and like go on it forever. Like, I'm not blaming the people, but I think that the educational system has created this mentality.
Right. There's there's like a they're not capping it off at a certain point.
Yeah,
You
now
know.
they're trying to, but like
Right.
up until now, no.
Right. Because like I know other countries have similar things, right? Where the university is either free or relatively cheap. But I feel like they don't have the same issues that you guys are having with that, which is interesting. So there's got to be something systemic about it.
And it's also, I didn't do that well in the exams. I didn't get into the school I wanted to, but I got into some school. I've never heard of this school before,
But I
but
got
I
in.
but I got in. I'll go into
Right.
this like town in the middle of nowhere that is just students, and I'll just party for like the next 8 years as long as my parents are paying my rent.
Right. Right. Sure. You're yeah, and then at the end I get this degree.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Probably nothing, because there's like 40% unemployment.
Right. Right. So it's just not a good situation in general.
No, and when I was like 15, I was like, you know what? I'll do that. I'll get into biology university, like the best biology universities in Crete in Greece.
Right.
I'll go there. Crete is like 50% of the time is sunny and nice. It's an island. I'll go to the beach.
It's like a tropical island almost.
Yes, it's like going to school in California. It'd be great. So I had this mentality. I was like, it's gonna be great. This is my future. And then at some point I was like, but yes, after this, what?
Right.
What's gonna go, like, I'm not gonna study the thing I want to, how I want to.
Right.
I'm gonna have like 5 good years of partying, and then what? And
Right.
then this is
Exactly.
when I was like, I need out. I need to find a solution. I need to do something so that I will not end up like that.
And you ended up in Wisconsin. Poor you.
And I ended up in middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. I don't know which is worse.
You could have gone to school on a tropical island, and you chose to come to Wisconsin.
This is how stupid 17-year-olds are. I didn't think about it for a second. My college counselor was saying it snowed. Like, every time it rained in Greece, I'd be like, oh, I fucking hate rain. And my college counselor would be like, that in Wisconsin, it like snows all year and rains and it's horribly cold. You are cold in Greece where it's sunny all the time. Like, what are
Right.
you going to go do there? And I was like, I don't care. I'm out.
I'm going. I'm doing it. You
I
can't
didn't
stop me.
realize what I had done until I was like in Coleman in Lawrence. I sat on my bed and I was like, what have I done?
I'm here now.
I'm here all by myself in another country. My parents, I can't even call them because we have like an 8-hour time difference.
Right.
if they need to come here, if I need to go there, I need like 30 hours of traveling.
Right.
And now I need to stay here for 4 years.
Yeah. And you did
and
it.
my English was horrible.
You got
Horrible.
better.
Yeah, but it took me time.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But I
Yeah,
mean, whatever.
so my 17-year-old mind didn't think this through. But I don't regret it.
No,
But I could
absolutely
have
not.
thought about it a little bit more, just a little bit.
Just a little bit, tiny
I
bit more.
prepared myself a little bit better.
Well, I'm glad you came, because if you didn't come, we wouldn't have met you. And
That's true.
yeah,
That's true.
it's awesome. Oh my goodness. Okay, we'll shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
So what's your favorite like cultural event or like custom from Greece, and why?
So the thing I enjoy most in Greece, particularly my village. So my whole family is from a village outside of Thessaloniki. This is where my grandparents still live.
Right.
Uh, and I really enjoy weddings there, because
Oh,
weddings
sure.
there are a week long event.
Whoa.
My brother was supposed to get married this past September, and we are gonna do all this, but now Corona happened, and it's
Right.
probably never gonna happen. But so weddings are a week long event.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say the wedding is on Saturday. Things start the previous Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
when the family of the groom goes to the family of the this all comes from very old traditions. We have
Sure.
kind of like modernized them, and
Okay.
I'm going to tell you what it is now.
Okay.
So the family of the groom goes to the family of the bride, and they ask for her hand
Okay.
formally,
Okay.
and they have a nice meal together, and then the family of the bride most of the times says yes, the wedding can happen.
Okay.
So this all happens on, and then we go to the whole neighborhood and give people treats and telling them the wedding is happening. Like, we kind of invite the whole neighborhood face to face.
Okay.
So this is where it all starts, and then the whole week preceding the wedding, there's customs and things that are happening to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the things come from when Greece was a very poor country, like
Mm-hmm.
even poorer than we are now. We've been a
Right.
very agricultural country, and my
Mm-hmm.
village people always had animals and they had crops. So
Right.
all the things that we're still offering come from this need of, we need to treat people, but we're also very limited on resources.
Sure.
So let's say on Wednesday before the wedding, we do kind of like our traditional bean soup,
Okay.
which it sounds like, why would you serve bean soup in a wedding? But this is the only thing they had back then. So
Right.
we're like continuing this tradition.
Mm-hmm.
And then also a dessert that is made from rice and milk. These were
Yeah.
the things that they had back then. And then the whole village, even if they're invited to the wedding or not, can come to these celebrations.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because like back in the day, you wanted to involve everyone, because
Right.
it
You
was
didn't want to. You didn't want to. Make everybody angry at you.
yeah. Also, pretty much the whole village was your family. Like, we're
Right.
all somehow related in
Right.
those
Of course.
villages. So everyone can come and we get to celebrate. Then we have all the girls that are not married dance, so that they will be blessed to find a good husband. We still
Mm-hmm.
do that. It's kind of weird, but it's tradition. And then we
I'm sure there's a
have,
lot of leering.
yes. And then because so like in Greece there's a lot of things of who buys what for the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So the family of the groom buys the wedding dress for the bride, and then we arrange a night that we're having a celebration. So we take the wedding dress and we dance with it, and then we give it to the bride, and then they have a very nice dinner for us, and we dance and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We also do like a ritual in the house of the couple, where we sing songs and we put little babies on their beds so that they can have babies.
Of course.
uh, so it's all like, if you I grew up seeing all this, and then when I got older I thought about all how like crazy to other people these might look, but it is what we do, I guess.
Well, I mean, if you're there and it's the only thing that you guys do, then it's just normal. So
Yeah. For
yeah.
me it was normal. And
Right.
when I started like watching American movies and people just went to the wedding, I was like, where are all the parties?
Where's all the party beforehand?
Yeah, like the bean soup and everything. Where is that? No bean soup.
Yeah, we don't do bean soup.
No. So, but
So I'm
it's
sorry. Hold on one second.
it's okay.
Whew. Come on, I cooperate with me. There we go. All right. Yeah.
Okay.
No, our weddings sound very tame comparatively.
Yeah. And it's like a party, even when the days that there's like nothing happening, there's
Mhm.
the whole family there and we're just drinking and being happy that we're together.
Right.
And all these celebrations are because like back in the day, there would be people from out of town, there would be all these
Hmm.
relatives that live away, also like now. So it's just an opportunity for us to get together.
Hmm. All right. Wow. I mean, like, I get that. And like, it sounds like um, maybe this is just a Greek thing, but it seems like you guys value your family a little bit more than maybe we do. Because for us, weddings are like, we're going to invite our people from out of town and they're going to come in for like, like that one day, that one weekend that we can stand them. And then after that, they're going to go away and we don't have to deal with them anymore.
Um,
Whereas
it's
for you guys, it's like, we're going to invite them for the whole week and no one's going to work. And we're going to like just party hard for this whole week. And then,
and everyone's gonna stay in our house and we're gonna be together a whole week and it's gonna be a party. Yeah, it's
yeah,
we
yeah.
do everything together. I don't know if it's just my family, but we do everything together.
Hmm.
Like when I go home, everyone's there.
Right,
Everyone is like when we used to come back from the US, because I only went home once a year, everyone
right.
was at the airport. Like the
Mhm.
whole waiting room of the airport, like the
Was like
arrival
your
floor was
family.
my family. Yes.
Well, you never got lost then, huh?
No,
No.
everyone, when I got out the door, everyone cheered. And then all the other people were like, what happened? What's happening? And
She
then,
came
like,
back. Woo!
yeah, and we always have welcome parties and then goodbye parties before I go. And yeah, they're
Nice.
just always there. We do everything together.
That's
It's
legit.
it's really nice.
Yeah,
Like when you're a teenager, it might seem annoying.
a little
Like
bit
why
probably.
are people in our house like 24/7? Why are we
I just
never
want my
alone? Like I just want to
privacy.
be alone.
Yeah.
Yes. But when like now that I'm not there
Hmm.
uh, so much,
Hmm.
and when I'm there, everyone being in our house is just great. And our house is like the meeting point. It's like a
Right.
hotspot for family.
Gotcha. Cool.
It's really nice. I really
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Well, it sounds kind of like so like my family has a similar sort of thing. Like my on my dad's side, my grandma's house is kind of like the focal point. And like people are in and out of there all the time. And so like that area is very kind of like that focal point. And so like whenever we would go down, everybody was there. And
Yeah.
but like it was nice for me because it was just like a weekend. I was with my family the whole time, and then I got to go back, 3 hours away to where I lived and have my space. And then we'd come back in a couple months and we'd have our weekend. And then so I understand both sides of that coin, like having family around all the time, but then also like needing to be able to be your own person for like, I don't know, 10 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, I went every time I went home for Christmas, I'd be like, so at Lawrence we had 1 month long
Yeah, that
breaks.
one really long break.
So I would be like with at least 15 people every day. And then I went back to my dorm room and I was like, and now what?
And
Like,
now what
where's
do I
all the
do?
noise? Why am I alone? What's happening? It's it's weird,
Big
but
change, big shift.
it's a lot of fun though. And you have this feeling that like no matter what happens, I'll never be alone.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
we are together in the good things and the celebrations and the welcomings, but we are also together when like something bad happens,
Right.
which is the most important thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Let's see here. I'm looking at my list of questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know a little bit about Greek food. I
Mhm.
know what dolmas are.
Yes, my favorite.
Okay, I'm not a fan of those, but that's okay. I'm sorry. I tried one once and I couldn't do it.
Drama.
Well, I'm sorry. You can hate me for it later. But what other things do Greeks eat generally? Like what's kind of like your typical cuisine?
So um, we there's a few things that are always in a Greek kitchen.
Uh-huh.
This is bread and feta cheese.
Right.
No matter what we eat, we always eat it with bread and feta cheese. Like pasta, we eat it with bread. Who eats pasta with bread? Greek people do. And feta
Me too.
cheese always there. Weird, but Greek.
Yeah.
So these are the two things we eat with everything, and
Mm,
then there's the whole Mediterranean cuisine. So we
right.
have olive oil that
Mm,
goes into everything,
right.
and also olive oil and onion is the base of all Greek foods.
Okay.
No matter what that is, it always starts with olive oil and onion.
And then other stuff gets
Uh,
added in.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Then we have, so traditionally we have the bean soup that I talked about before. It's a
Hmm.
very traditional Greek food, and it has been for a long time, because for a long time this was the only thing that people could kind of afford to eat, and now
Hmm.
it's kind of a staple.
Right.
Then we have the more like not touristy stuff, but the people that are more well known, I guess, which is the gyros sandwich,
Yes. Hmm.
which is
Hmm.
only pork and kitchen for the American people, nothing else. And one more thing that American people should hear is that the Greek salad, there's no green vegetables in it. There's no like lettuce in it,
Gotcha.
which
It's
drove me crazy every time in the US, every single time.
yeah, you always got like a bunch of romaine in there or something like that.
No, it needs to be like too much tomato and too much cucumber, and then everything else.
Right. Well,
So
yeah,
these,
it's supposed to be like a cucumber, tomato, and feta
yeah,
salad, right? That's the
yeah,
gist
yeah,
of
yeah.
it, right? Yeah.
I think that American people were just like didn't want to put that many tomatoes and cucumbers in there, and then they're like, "We'll just put some greens in there. It's gonna be fine. No one will
It'll be
know.
okay. It'll look the
It'll be
same. It's
okay."
not.
It's not.
Yeah.
And then meat, a lot of meat.
Hmm.
Being Greek and being a vegetarian is like I think
Hard.
a combination that cannot happen.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do.
Hmm.
Um, Most of the times we think that if there's no meat, it's not a meal.
Okay.
So it's like more like a snack. If there's a dish that doesn't have meat, it's more like a snack or a starter rather than the
Gotcha.
main dish.
Cool.
Um, so yeah, it's a lot of bread, cheese, olive oil,
Hmm.
a lot of wine, and the byproducts, because wine and olive oil have been a Greek staple since the ancient years,
Right.
and we have a lot of grape cultivation,
Hmm.
and also olives. So a lot of Greek families also make their own olive oil and their own
Right.
wine.
They've got their own vines.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool.
So that's also a thing that is always on the table.
Nice. So, um, completely different direction, but
Hmm.
you talked about wine, and so it got me thinking about Dionysus.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know if this is something that people do in Greece or not, but so you guys in ancient times had this great pantheon with all these different gods and goddesses and stuff. Do people still like do they have like their own personal favorite god or something like that, or or have you guys moved past doing that sort of thing?
I think we have moved past it. Of course, we're being taught all of that at school, like all the
Right,
mythology and the
right,
history. My family, my dad, he's a very big history geek.
sure,
And you talked about Dionysus. He was not supposed to be in the 12 gods originally.
right,
The
yeah,
god that was supposed to be in his place was Estia, which is the family of the goddess of family.
right.
So my dad is very offended that people know Dionysus and he is in the 12 gods, although he's just a drunk, and
Right.
no one he shouldn't really be there. But
But
this
he
is this
is.
is yeah, this is the first thing that I think of when I think about Dionysus. Like, he shouldn't be there. He doesn't belong there. He's just a drunk.
He's like the drunk uncle of the gods.
Yes, exactly. So we
Right.
don't see the point of him being there. But like, I was raised with hearing about Greek mythology, knowing about Greek history,
Hmm.
and appreciating where I come from, and being very proud of being Greek. without going into any extremes and without becoming thinking that Greek people are superior or anything else.
Right.
But I was raised having this very deep appreciation of where I come from.
Hmm.
And I think that especially after I left, it's where I started appreciating Greece a lot more.
Right.
So at every single class I took at Lawrence, there was one reference to something Greek. It was like
Right.
the Greek alphabet or this Greek ancient philosopher or something Greek was everywhere.
Right.
And this was a very big realization for me of Greece is everywhere. It's this tiny country that I come from that is so far away, but everyone somehow knows it, and it
Right.
knows so many things about
Mhm.
it.
Right. It's
And
become
it was,
foundational in so many different ways.
yeah. And when I was in Greece, I didn't really know that.
Right. You were just like, oh, this is just what's happened. And now it's like,
Yes,
oh,
and I
everybody
and I
knows about it though.
and like growing up, I was like, maybe every country is like that, you know? Maybe like every country has ancient philosophers and scientists and weird religions and temples and Parthenons and all these
If
stuff that
only.
we had. Yes.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I think that leaving Greece made me appreciate it so much more.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, sorry, my eye is really bothering me.
Okay.
Um, Having traveled a little bit myself, it's always interesting kind of finding out the things that you appreciate when you leave. Because like I know I've been to Italy, I've been to Austria, and I've been to England. And when I was in Italy, I realized, like, because they do the siesta,
Yeah.
you know, so everything closes for like 3 hours in the middle of the day. And for me, that was really obnoxious. I'm used to everything being open when I want to. And so I was kind of like, I just want to get food and I can't
You're
because
like, we
everything's
have
closed.
24-hour Walgreens.
Yeah.
You
Or
can't
like,
limit me like
yeah,
that.
exactly. How can I be limited in this day and age? Or, like, um, when I was in Italy also, there were times where like you couldn't find like really good modernized plumbing. And it was like, I just want to go to the bathroom in a toilet that's gonna, flush.
American plumbing.
Yeah, were you a
10 out
fan?
of 10.
And
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
we take it very seriously.
Yes.
Yeah, but like those are really like lame things compared to like, oh yes, in Greece we have the foundation of Western culture and and the foundation of science. But
But
like,
you have good plumbing.
but we
It's
have
equally
good plumbing,
important.
gosh darn it, and we won't let anyone forget it. Uh, Speaking of that rich cultural history, right?
Mhm.
And the birthplace of science. You are a scientist. You're studying biology. Which is this is something I probably would think about. I don't know if it's something you thought about, but like, the people from your country like basically created science, and like now you're like taking up that mantle and like pushing it forward, thousands of years later. Like, is that something that you've thought about and been like, it's like, wow, I'm really like, I'm taking up the reins of Aristotle and like exploring the world and like doing awesome things.
I would have been so much more proud of what I'm doing in that respect if I did it using Greek means, if you know
Sure.
what I mean.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying.
So
Yeah.
all the education I've gotten in science has
Right.
come from another country. So the
Right.
US first and now the Netherlands.
Right.
So I feel very proud that I'm a Greek scientist abroad,
Right.
and I feel very proud representing my country, and I do represent my country in everything I do.
Hmm.
But I would feel so much better if I did it with Greek means.
Right. Absolutely.
Um, it's really sad to see that people. I was not raised
Hmm.
to think of me being a scientist, let's say. So I'm a
Right.
first generation college student.
Right.
No one from my whole entire big fat Greek family has ever gone to university.
Right.
So it was when I went to Lawrence, it was so interesting to see that my friends would like call their parents and be like, "Oh, I don't know what class to take this semester. Can you help me?" or
Right.
can you like look over my paper or something
Right.
like this. I never had that. So
Mhm.
my parents are still very not sure of what I'm doing or why I'm doing it.
Right.
So I'm studying a bird right now, and my mom's like, people in biology cure cancer, and you're studying this bird for some reason. So it's so, what I'm doing is so far from the Greek reality of today.
Right.
Like someone doing a PhD in Greece is just like, you made it. Like
Right.
next up, the Nobel Prize.
Right.
And I don't understand why people, Greek people, Greece is where it all started. Why we
Mhm.
have let it like slip away so much.
Things happen.
Things happen, and
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just sad
it
because
is.
I know so many people that would have the potential to do what I do and maybe better than me.
Right.
It's just like they never got the opportunity, or it just never occurred to them that they can do something better and they can do something more than what their
What
parents
they're
did
doing right
or
now.
what the
Exactly.
people around them are
Mhm.
doing.
Right.
So I'm proud to be doing what I'm doing and represent Greece. I would be more proud if I did it with Greek means and if more Greek people did that.
Well, so saying that, then are you planning on going back to Greece when you're done, or are you going to go stay abroad and do science elsewhere?
I would absolutely love to do what I do in Greece.
Right.
But being realistic, looking at Greece right now, looking at the opportunities in Greece right now, there is no, it really hurts for me to say, but there's no place for me in Greece.
Right. So you're by becoming more educated, you've kind of
Yeah.
excluded yourself from your own home, which sucks.
Yes.
That's something that like what so as I learned to be a teacher, we spent, I don't know, countless hours talking about how, you know, the more educated you get compared to your parents, the harder it is for you to communicate with them and level with them because they're not going to understand what you're doing. It's just out of their realm of thinking. And it kind of stinks that you're not even just doing that with your family, right? Your family doesn't really get what you're doing, but now you've almost put yourself out of reach of your whole country because they can't support you, which is unfortunate.
And it's like not about the like the money. Like I know that if I find a job, any job in Greece, it would be like I would be paid for 1/10 of what I'd be paying
Right.
abroad. But there's literally no place you can go teach at a university. That's it. And you can
Right.
only go teach at a university if your family knows someone who knows someone who knows
Right.
someone who can get you to teach into that university.
Correct.
Also
Right.
in Greece, another really shitty thing about the educational system, you can do a master's if your family knows someone who knows someone. You can only do a PhD if your family knows someone,
Right.
which I would have hated to do that,
Right. So
knowing that
it's
the
all based
position,
on
yeah,
patriotism.
knowing that the position I hold was not given to me because of who I am and my capabilities, but because of my last name,
Right.
or my friend knowing someone and having these connections. This is crazy to me.
It is. It's not how academia should work.
Yes.
Right.
And
Which is so stifling. So that's probably part of the issue is it's become so reliant on who you know instead of your skill. And that's why you get people who can't teach teaching and
yeah.
right. So
So it's
it's
like
just
it's a
it's
vicious
caving in on
cycle.
itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So and I don't say like I don't want to go to Greece because no one is going to acknowledge my capabilities or what I've done or all my achievements, but because practically there's no place for me there. My mom, every time I go to Greece, she's like, "Did you look at anything? Do you want to come here? Did you find a job here?" I'm like, "Where?
yeah.
Where?
What am I gonna do? Go back and like work in a deli or something or
Yeah,
become a
be a
waitress?
waitress with a PhD."
Sounds like the life.
Sounds like a life. In Greece, in my hometown, there's like this gyros place
Hmm.
where the guy who owns it is an engineer, and because he couldn't find a job as an engineer, he opened this gyros place, and the paper that he folds the gyros in is his engineering degree. So I can do that with my PhD and just open a Yitas place.
So is that like, so he made like a copy of his
Yeah.
master, of his degree, and he folds up that's hilarious.
Yeah.
But you know what? You probably getting a quality euro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There we go. What you could do then, since you're studying biology, is you could raise your own animals, raise everything yourself. Like
do everything bio.
You could breed them for superior ingredients.
Greek people don't care. The dirtiest the Yitas is, the better. The more grease it has, the better it is. Greek people don't care about that. I know the market well enough.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
It's weird for us if we go to a restaurant and everything's clean. We just think there's something wrong, and the food is gonna be shit.
See, if we went to a restaurant and my mom was with us, if it wasn't clean, she would throw a fit and we'd probably leave.
Shouldn't come to Greece.
Nah, she probably shouldn't come to Greece, but she's busy doing other stuff right now, so not an issue right now. Let's see here. Okay, I'm running out of questions. But obviously we could still keep going if you want to talk more about Greece. I guess the one other thing I really wanted to talk about is like you said, you've spent time in the United States and you've spent time in the Netherlands. So you've lived in 3 different countries now. What were some of the things that you've already kind of talked about this a little bit, but what were some of the things that like really shocked you about moving to, I guess, the United States? Because that was your first real experience, right? Like, what were the things that you like didn't understand, or you just had a hard time getting used to about living in a place that wasn't like your hometown?
So the first time I came to the US was actually when I was 15.
Okay.
It was in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And I attended this 8-week summer scholarship leadership camp in upstate New York.
Oh, cool.
So again, 15-year-old Marianthi didn't think that she was going to be in the other side of the world for 2 months without knowing very well English.
Right.
So I just winged it and I was like, I'll go. How bad can it be?
Right. Whatever.
It's just America. I've seen it in movies. Looks good. New York, So 15-year-old Marianthi goes to New York, and the American girls that were gonna go with us to the camp were to host us in New York for a few days before we went to camp in upstate New York. So in Greece, people are hospitable to a disgusting degree.
Yeah.
So if you come to my house, you need to sleep in my bed. I'll sleep on the floor. I don't care.
Right.
If you come to my hometown and I host you, you don't get to pay for anything.
Right.
It's just like disgusting how hospitable we are.
Right.
So because I'm going and these girls are going to host me, my mom has made me fill half of my suitcase with presents for them. So she has sent like these handmade pillowcases that my great grandma made, and Greek coffee for me to make them, and all these Greek desserts and all this stuff that I was going to give them, and I was going to prepare for them to show them the Greek civilization and to thank them for hosting me.
Right.
So I go, and the 2 girls, these twins from Queens, are going to host me. And we go to their apartment, and the first night and all the nights that came, they made me sleep on the floor, which for me, I was like, if they came to Greece, we would like, if they wanted to live in our house, we'd leave our house for 10 days and then live in our house. Like, this is how hospitable Greek people are. So this is like the first shock. Then they're like, hospitality abilities, let's say, were not the best. So I'm like, maybe not all American people are like that, and they're not. Right. But I realized that not everyone was raised to be like me.
Sure.
Like
big changes.
Greek people, like, if you ask them to give you like the shirt they're wearing, they will.
Right.
Most Greek people, but this was not the case.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I moved to Appleton, then the smaller things came of someone asking me, like passing me by at the street at Lawrence, someone I knew, and being like, how are you? And me like standing there telling them everything about my day because I thought they genuinely wanted to
To
know
know.
how I
Right.
was.
Right. Yeah.
So like people also not forming relationships as I was used to.
Hmm.
So I was used to like making friends and making connections very easily. So if I went out with someone one night, the next day we're friends. In the US, if I spend like a whole night partying with someone, then the next day they might see me at brunch and not talk to me. And I was like, but we partied together, like we're friends now.
We're best buds.
We're best buds. Like what? So it was like little things like that that took me a long time to realize. And also I thought that maybe it's just me, like maybe people don't like me in America or I seem weird. And
No
yeah, so
nonsense.
it was little things like that of like people also not being so close with their families as I was used to.
Yeah.
um Also, so when I went came to Lawrence, the first thing my roommate told me was, now we're independent, we're gonna live our lives, we're gonna go crazy, we're gonna
Who is your
drink.
roommate?
Megan.
Megan.
Megan Clark.
Okay. All right.
So, but in Greece, there's not this philosophy of like keeping our children away from all the things that could harm them.
Right.
So, like I had my first beer with my dad when I was like 13.
Right.
My dad was like, if you're going to get drunk, do it here with me. You're going to get over it. Like, you're not
Right.
going to want to get drunk when you go out. And like, for me and for a lot of the people I know, this worked.
Right.
Like, I was never crazy. In Greece, the drinking age is 18,
Right.
but there's no drinking age. Like, if you can walk, you can drink.
Right.
But like, because like alcohol is everywhere, it's not so taboo as it is in the US. I
Yeah,
was
it
never
is.
like, I was never like, I'll go crazy.
Right.
And I was in RLA, like an RA, they call them now, at
Right.
Lawrence.
Right.
And every weekend, I would have people go to the hospital because they'd get alcohol poisoning because
Right.
they never had alcohol before in their lives. And I thought this was crazy.
Yep. So I'm gonna use this as my soapbox, I guess, because the United States is so weird in that way, right? Like we're so like, oh, don't drink. It's so bad for you. Don't do it. But then everywhere it's like you got to drink all the time and it's fantastic and alcohol will save you. And it's such this weird like dynamic that we have where of like contradictions. And I like kind of the way that Greece handles it then in that way because growing up, you understand there's a limit to how much you can drink. If you drink too much, you're going to get sick. If and you learn that from a young enough age where by the time you are, young and rebellious or whatever, you understand the limits and capabilities of your body and you're least likely to do something like that. Whereas we're just like, oh, you can't do anything ever. And then we like shove a bunch of like not fully developed children into this new place with no supervision. And we're like, don't do anything bad. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Typical us. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm
So
done.
that was also very interesting to see
Mm-hmm.
how trying to keep your child safe would have the exactly the opposite effects of what you want it to
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Yeah.
And also here in the Netherlands, people are very open about drinking. So like when I started my master's and I wrote my first big paper, my professor just like brought a beer crate. He was like, let's have a beer. And I was like, in the U.S., like every Friday before Corona, we just all gather, professors, students, everyone, just
Right.
having a beer.
Right.
In the US, drinking is so taboo
It is.
that you don't talk about it, you pretend that it doesn't exist.
Right.
So like here it's not like that, and things don't get out of hand and we don't go crazy for alcohol, and it's just the socializing thing. And I don't it's not that bad after all.
It's different.
If you treat it like it's nothing, like it's
Mhm.
something normal. This is what it's going to be.
Well, I mean, I guess a little bit more of history from the United States is back in the 1800s, we banned alcohol like
Yeah,
nationally, and that's part of our history. It's like I feel like a lot of people forget that the United States was founded on such like
harsh.
socially conservative
Yeah.
principles.
Hmm.
And that's why drinking is so taboo. That's why like sex and all that is so taboo in the United States, because all of that is wrapped up into that, like, I'm going to say puritanical garbage, because I don't like it too much. But like that's where it all came from. We're founded by religious extremists, and
So it's like deeply rooted in your
yeah, it is. It's
civilization.
deeply rooted in American society, and it's kind of crazy that people like forget that that's a thing. But
Also,
like,
for me, like you can drive when you're 16.
right, you can drive when
Like,
you're 16 in the US too.
oh no, I spoke Greek for a second. I thought I meant that you can drive in the US when you're 16.
Right. When can you drive?
So in Greece, 18.
Right.
Like for me, 16 is very young to trust a teenager with a motor vehicle,
With a vehicle. Yeah.
but you don't trust him until they're 21 out of their teenage years, being like a grown-up adult to have a beer.
Right.
Like for me, that's crazy.
Right. Well, and it was the same thing in the United States with voting, because up until like this to like the late 70s, early 80s, you couldn't vote until you were 21. And so and that became a big sticking point in America, because we were sending 18-year-olds to die in Vietnam, but they weren't allowed to vote. So that became a big push then to let 18-year-olds vote. So it wasn't until actually pretty recently that 18-year-olds could vote in the United States. So like there's this kind of weird hodgepodge of of age requirements that have changed and fluctuated, because the drinking age was 18 in the 70s. It changed, since then. Now it's 21. But like, um, yeah, you're right. Those kind of things have changed over time. And so more
And yeah,
kind of
there
weird contradictions.
some of the things that didn't make sense to me
Hmm.
uh as a Greek person in the US, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird. Gotta love the United States. We're a great place.
Sure, 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 sure.
Yeah.
Also, I think that, so for me, because I was at Lawrence, and at Lawrence, for people who don't know, we have this Lawrence bubble that we
Uh-huh.
call it, that we're very secluded, and like if you don't get a lot of chances, especially like if you're an international student, you don't get a lot of chances to see a lot outside. Like I was lucky enough to be able to travel
Right.
and to visit my friends, for my friends to take me home with them.
Hmm.
But for like, let's say my freshman and junior and sophomore year, uh, I was in the Lawrence bubble, and I thought that the US was this like, so at Lawrence, everyone is very well educated, everyone is very nice. You have very interesting conversations with everyone. So I
Right.
thought that everyone in the US was like that. Everything was like the whole US was a big Lawrence University.
Oh, if only.
Oh yeah, although that was not the case, and I realized that later
Hmm.
when I got out there and I met people who did not go to college, I met people who were older, I met people who were younger. I went into families, I saw how family dynamics work.
Right.
So it was not until I let's say experienced the real US
Hmm.
that I realized what this country is all about.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. I going from being at Lawrence because I was there for 5 years, and then um, I ended up working in Appleton in a grocery store for like a year. And I always kind of had in the back of my head this idea that people in town didn't really like us for whatever reason.
Hmm.
But it wasn't until I actually like worked in a place, like outside of the bubble, that I realized just how deep that was. People really don't like Lawrence for whatever
Why?
reason,
Is
because
there a reason?
we're elitist intellectuals.
Like this poor Greek girl, this first generation college student who came to study in the middle of nowhere
Right.
is
And
yeah.
whenever they'd say stuff like that, I'd always think of people like you, or people, who are just trying to learn and like better themselves and do their thing. And it's like, we're not elitist. We're kids. We're literally kids. And we chose to go to school here. Like, that's all. But like, it has this reputation of being this place full of, snobby rich kids from across the country who come to the little town of Appleton to ruin its values and be awful or whatever. And it's just like, all right,
Okay, but that's
cool,
not the
thanks.
case.
I guess that's what we do, but news to me.
That's horrible.
I know.
I,
It's been a
I
period.
always wondered why the Appleton community was not that involved with the university.
Yeah, I don't think they like us too much. They're not a big
Mm.
fan.
But it's like a good opportunity for them to be part of this group if they really wanted to.
If they wanted to, yeah. But but see, but that's another US thing that is so weird. It's our anti-intellectualism. We don't like being smart. We like glorify being dumb for some reason, or being ignorant. And it's incredibly obnoxious. It's really hard sometimes to be an American because we're like, oh yeah, I don't know anything about this and I have an opinion about it and I'm just gonna say it because I don't care how wrong I am. And that's how people think here, and it's kind of crazy.
Like before I came to the US, I was like, this is where like the country with like a lot of Nobel Prizes. This is
Hmm.
where NASA is.
Yeah,
This
I
is
know.
where science happens.
Yep.
This is where like everything happens.
Right.
And then you expect all people there to be at
Hmm.
that level and to be like so welcoming to all of this.
No.
And then I met my first Karen, and then I was like, no, not at all.
Yep. No, it's crazy because it's in these like little isolated bubbles all across the United States. Like you could just like put the whole map out there and you can make just like a bunch of little Lawrence bubbles where all that intellectualism happens. And then outside of that, everybody's like, we don't need book learning. That's what people call it. Yeah, we don't need book
Book
learning.
learning? Oh
Book
my
learning. We don't need it. I got all my smarts here from all my experiences driving my tractor or doing my thing. And I'm like,
God.
okay, sure you do. Cool.
I'm thinking like if people in Greece are thinking like that as well.
Possible.
Because as I said, like it's not a lot of people who have had like this they're intellectuals like you
Right.
said.
Right.
So so I'm trying to think like I think that the majority of the Greek people have a respect for them.
Sure.
I want to believe,
Right.
but there are also always and everywhere people who are just going to say like we see it with the corona vaccine, we see it with the coronavirus in general, people who just think that they know better than the scientists, they know
Of course.
better than the
Right.
CDC, they know better than the prime minister.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and and they also like family friends of mine have said like you're a smart person, you listen to them. I'm like, that's the smartest thing to do. If a scientist,
Yeah.
if the prime minister tells you to stay at home for some reason, no matter what the reason is, just do it.
Right. Yeah.
There's no other thing for you to do than do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Yeah.
these
Craziness.
people drive me crazy. I want to get into so many debates on Facebook with people
Oh,
who
you can't do that. You can't go down that rabbit hole, Marianthi.
like right now in Greece they are preparing this not demonstration, this why don't I know English today, this
Protest?
protest, there you go, this protest against the lockdown, and they're all gonna like aggregate into space, a very small space, like in a square, and they're just
Be
going to protest it.
maskless and
Yes. And
yes.
then next day, the coronavirus cases are going to be double and triple. And then there's going to be a harder lockdown because of what they did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the same thing's happening in the U.S. It's crazy. When they invaded our capital and tried to overthrow our government, none of them were maskless, or none of them were wearing masks. They were all yelling and screaming. And now we've got more coronavirus spikes and now there's even more stuff coming on. And it's like,
I was watching that and I was like, this is like a movie scenario.
it is. It was
like
nuts.
This cannot be happening in real life.
And it did. And it's crazy because literally this week, this is completely off the topic of Greece, but I don't care anymore because this is important. This week in Congress, we're having his impeachment trial. We're impeaching Donald Trump. And this is just kind of like the weird microcosm of what America has become, I feel like, and probably why I want to go to Greece so badly, because it's not like this. But the House impeached him before he was out of office. So then the Senate's supposed to try him, and the leader of the Senate at the time was a Republican, and he said, "Nah, we're not going to do that yet. We're going to wait." Well, then finally he's out of office, and now he's like, "Well, we can't impeach someone who's not in office. That's against the rules." And we're like, "No, it is, and we can do that still." And so we're holding the trial this week, and the people who are trying to prosecute him are like spending 2 or 3 days just laying out the timeline of all this stuff and basically how he told them to do it. This is it's his fault, basically, is the gist of the trial. And the people who are supposed to be watching and then being the jury aren't paying attention. And it's like, what are you guys doing?
The craziest things happen in the US.
I know. And then, today, the guy who delayed the trial so that it would happen now came out and he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to vote to acquit him. He's not guilty of this." And I'm like, did you listen to anything they said? Obviously he didn't. But it's like they just want to move on because they don't want to be held responsible or accountable for all the things that happened. And I feel like that's probably the same thing that could happen in any country. It's like how in Turkey they're like, "Yeah, we didn't kill the Armenians. That didn't happen." It's like, okay, but you did. But so you saying that you didn't doesn't negate the fact that it happened. That would be like if Germany was like, "Yeah, the Holocaust didn't happen.
We didn't kill any Jews."
Yeah, exactly, right? Like that, if they did that, it would be the same thing. And it's ridiculous. And I applaud Germany for being so willing to accept their historical awfulness, but yeah, we're
like Trump, in my mind, he's just a cartoon character that gets into the weirdest scenarios, into the weirdest shenanigans, and then it's just like, it seems like a joke. Like all the things that this man has done seem like
I
a
know,
joke.
but it's crazy because I've been living through it, and it's like,
Yes.
it's real.
Like seeing it from outside is fine, but in my PhD interview, one of the guys was like, "You studied in the US, you had good grades and everything. Why didn't you stay there?" And I was like, it was right about when the Black Lives Matter movement was happening, and I was like, have you watched the news?
Yeah.
Do you know what's happening in the US? And back
Right.
then when I left, these things were not happening yet.
Yeah, it was on the cusp of happening, and now.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. But yeah, it's also, I don't know if I lived now, especially during Trump's presidency, if I lived in the US, if I would feel welcome.
You probably wouldn't have, because he's a xenophobic words.
Yeah. So, and I think that in the 4 years when I lived in the US, there were very few instances when I didn't feel welcome as an international student.
Right.
But I feel like with Trump being the president, all of this would have been multiplied.
Yeah.
And anyone who also getting a visa and getting a green card is so much harder for people.
It is.
So it's just there's an environment of not a very welcome environment for people who are
Right.
not Americans.
Right. Well, and I would feel bad for someone like Shang, who would have had such a hard time getting here
Hmm.
if it was like during the Trump presidency, because she was from China, and like
Mhm.
that would have been really difficult for her, because we were openly not allowing people in, or anybody that I knew from Africa, they weren't allowing people in. So, it's like the changes that happen in just a short period of time, and hopefully,
Yeah.
the President Biden has been undoing a lot of that.
Hmm.
But like, I feel like, I don't know if this is true or not, but you're living abroad. I feel like the American reputation of being this place where people can come and
It's
learn or do.
melting pot of civilizations.
Yeah, right. It's being tarnished by that, and now people don't want to come anymore because they feel like they're going to be targeted, um, which is a shame, because people like you who come and contribute to our society are what makes us so awesome. Um, and and then we get to learn about all sorts of cool stuff, like how great Greece is.
I felt like I cheated the American system a bit. And because I had like a lot of scholarships when I was in the US, I felt like I came there, you trained me, and then I was like, thank you, bye. You know,
Don't worry, it happens.
it
Bro,
had like, if the environment was better, I would have stayed.
right.
But it's kind of your fault also.
It totally is.
The country's fault.
It's specifically my fault.
And
Marianthi left
specifically
America because of
Mike's
me.
fault.
It's because I was too cool, and she couldn't
And I
she
was like,
couldn't she
and
couldn't
then
stay that close to it.
you had a child, and I was like, that's double coolness. I cannot survive this, and then just left.
Yep, that's it. That's what happened. Yep. It wasn't about anything else.
Nope,
No, not
no
at all.
visa stuff, nothing.
No, not at all. Well, awesome. Thanks, Marianthi, for
Thank
coming
you.
and talking. I'm so happy we got to do this.
Me too.
Greece is awesome. It's got its issues, but
Visit Greece. Don't go to all the touristy islands. Also go to mainland Greece. It's really pretty.
yeah, go to where Marianthi's from.
Go to Thessaloniki.
Yeah, it's the place to be.
That's a place we.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, we'll see everybody later for the next Around the World. I don't know where it's going to be yet, but it's going to be somewhere, and it's going to be fantastic. So thanks again, and we'll see you later.